All right, guys, come on in here. Come on in here. I'm so happy to see you guys again. This is your legal bestie, attorney Symone. Hit that like as you come on in. Let me see how it is looking. It looks like I got one bar for one signal. So that's going to be interesting. We'll see how this Mexican Wi-Fi goes tonight. But if it starts lagging or whatever, I will just turn off my video and we will keep it pushing. Let me know where you are watching from. Hey, y'all, I'm actually here celebrating my brother's birthday. Hey, jurors, let us know. Here's what we got on the docket because we're going to get right into it. We got, there's a Trump burger related deportation. I'll get into it. ICE and qualified immunity. There's a list of free colleges that's been updated. I've been talking about that. It is now the time for students to be getting those apps together. So we're going to talk about this great little list. It's not a complete and total list, but it's a list of top colleges, as well as we're going to talk about this government shutdown, y'all. Ugh. And Candace Owens has decided to go on a little HBCU tour. We're going to talk about her, as well as Tyler Perry is seeking dismissal of his case, which I already told you guys he would look for. Hey, you guys, he would try to get. I told you about that previously. I'll do a quick, short breakdown of his case and why he's trying to seek dismissal. Also, if there's any questions, if you want a Q&A, now, if you want to make sure I see your question, you can always send me a super chat, which can be like 99 cents or whatever. That helps. But then also feel free to put your question in the chat. And I don't have time for it today, but I definitely want to do an episode this week that's going to be a live Q&A where you get to ask me a legal question that you have without having to pay. So if you want to come on later this week, ask your question. You don't have to show your face. Shoot me an email at attorneysymone@gmail.com with your question. If I feel like it's a question that might be helpful to other viewers, we're going to have you on. It says, can I talk about Trump firing special ed teachers? Yes. Oh, God. I don't mind just starting there real quickly. That is so ridiculous and stupid. So Trump is doing this because, remember, Trump, as part of, Project 2025 or whatever they call it, he doesn't believe that we need a Department of Education. Well, one of the biggest things the Department of Education does is protect the rights of disabled students, but also ensure that they have services. So with regards to firing those special ed instructors and teachers, etc. Now, mind you, the federal government doesn't hire every, school teachers for your regular school. But what they do is they have policies, they have procedures. And then for parents, for example, if you have a special needs student that you believe is not obtaining the services they're entitled to under the law, then they can file with the Department of Education for relief. So what's going on now, and hit that like, and hit the subscribe. What's going on now is by firing these people, those families are not going to have any relief. When a school decides, hey, it is cheaper for us to not have services for special needs students because we can barely afford, the traditional students that we have, these parents are not going to have any relief. More than that, this is a perfect example of how the current administration is trying to do firings that they wanted to do regardless of the shutdown, but blame it on the shutdown. So to that end, we're going to start with something a little lighthearted. Then we're going to get into some more of the meat. Oh, I am a little blurry. Okay. Sorry about that. This is hotel Wi-Fi. So we're going to make it work. At times I may actually turn off my camera if needed. We're going to start with this. This was a clip from Don Lemon that I saw, and I am so in love with this guy who spoke today. So basically, Don Lemon's on the street in Chicago. He is interviewing a variety of people. And this man and his commentary just kind of took the words right out of my spirit. Here we go.
Regardless of what Donald Trump.
Hold on. Move this together. Move this other. Take this down. Here we go. No. Hold on. We got a lot going on here. Remove this one. Here we go. Just listen to the words. Just listen to the words.
Say,
What do you want to say to Donald Trump?
fuck Donald Trump, die from natural causes, Pam Bundy an idiot, Christy Nome ugly. Fuck Donald Trump, get the fuck out of our city, basically, like, you know, quit racial profiling people, and I just hate all this shit. I hate them.
Why is it pissing you off so much?
Cause they racist. I know deep down it's all like some racist shit. You see the shit all over the news and all over the TV saying this dumbass shit they saying that day and all this dumbass shit they doing and shit. Once I rolled past here and saw people protest the shit, I don't know. I just want to be heard. They just some fucking idiots, man. I don't know. There ain't really no other way to put it. They racist. And they don't like me and I don't like them. And, you know, like, they got a problem with a motherfucker like me, but they love Charlie Kirk. Like, what the fuck? Charlie Kirk's a piece of shit. I don't get no fuck. I got a job, too. I don't get no fuck. Dox me. You better not pull up where I be at. Charlie Kirk running around saying stupid ass, racist ass shit, all type of dumb ass shit. They call him a patriot and he was a piece of shit. He was a racist. He said if he see a black pilot, he wonder is he qualified. A piece of shit, bro. Like, he the one said that a couple gun deaths is okay for the Second Amendment. He said that shit. Then when he get shot, we all supposed to cry. He was talking shit the minute the bullet hit his neck. He's still talking shit. His stupid ass wife still out here being racist and trying to throw Super Bowl shows. They dumb as hell in Bad Bunny, Puerto Rican. They don't even know he American. They just racist. Like, they just see, oh, he's brown. He just racist, bro. So fuck all of them. I say what I want to.
Well, I feel like he captured the spirit of a lot of the concerns of many Americans. I'm sorry for the language. I may end up clipping this out of the final version of this episode, just if YouTube gives me some trouble. But, you know, he was upset I had to share these sentiments because my favorite line was he said, dox me if you want to, but basically you're not about to roll up on me. And then when he said, Pan Bondi is dumb and Christy Nome is ugly. You know how mad you have to make a man for him to call you ugly? He got to be real, real bad. Listen, I want to welcome Val. Val is a new member to the channel. Thank you so much for joining us, Val. And as well, let me pull him down, y'all. Oh, Lord, bless his little heart. Here we go. As well, don't forget, guys, you can always schedule a consultation with me. Here is the link to do so. It is SymoneRedwine.com. I do consults anywhere across the nation. I'm happy to help you. If for some reason I can't help you with your matter, I will refund you the money. And this is also the link if you would like to book a background check with me as well for the person of your choice. It is completely confidential. Oh, and don't worry, guys, the background checks will be back next month, as in November. They're going to be back in November. So I look forward to seeing you guys on those as well. All right, let's get back into it. Y'all, I got a little fun fact, y'all. You know, there's always something crazy going on with me. I know I look crazy. So that's me and this girl, Kelly. Y'all, let me tell you about what I did. Because, you know, we're going to start the show from now on with me telling like a little bit of my business. Because, you know, I be telling my business. So what had happened was, and this little picture, oh, why does this look? I don't know, let me adjust this. So what had happened was here is for the month of September, I was living and working in New York, in Harlem. And I walked past this place called Harlem Nights. And on Mondays, they have open mics. So it's open mic comedy for the first few hours. And in the nighttime, it is like open mic, singing, performing, all of that. So I go to Harlem Nights. I sit in there. It's happy hour. You know, I like me a cheap little drink. So y'all, come on in here. This is still the intro. I'm telling you my business like I like to do in the beginning before we hop all the way into the docket. So I'm at Harlem Nights. I'm sitting there and I'm watching, and it's open mic comedy, which are amateur people that basically have written jokes, and they go in there to try them out and tweak their performance. And I used to do stand-up comedy. It's been like 8 years. So I was just sitting there and I was like, well, I'm here. Why don't I sign up? So there was like 16 slots. I signed up for the last one. Y'all, why did I win? Why did I win? That's me afterwards. You can't tell. There was money in my bosom, y'all. I won money. Yes, I won some money. I couldn't believe it. I did a set of jokes that I literally wrote in the back of the room as I was watching other people perform. It was just kind of whatever came to my mind. That's also why I definitely think I have Asperger's at this point, but that's another story. I did a set. Basically, I opened and talked about dating as a lawyer. And then I also talked about my experience covering the Diddy trial and the foolishness that I observed there. So maybe one day as I continue to hone that skill set, maybe I'll invite you guys to a show sometime. But yeah, had a whole, how they do it there is every time you say something funny, an audience member, if they find it's funny, can go over to the bell and they can ring this little bell. You just hit it like that. And I ended up winning because I had the most bell rings in 4 minutes. I got 67. So I was super excited. Aside from the professionals, like there was a professional there or a few professionals there that obviously got more. But yeah, that was super fun, y'all. So I think I'm going to work on that skill set. So there is that. All right, let's pull that down. And that was at Harlem Nights. Thank you so much to Harlem Nights, literally in Harlem. Thank you. It says you're a good storyteller, so I'm not terribly surprised. The story you told about the narc that took you to the nightclub was funny. Oh, Lord. Oh, that bless his heart. All right. Next up. All right. It's time for college. It's time for schools. We're going a little bit out of order. You know what? Let me just stick with the order so that if you're watching later, you don't get confused. Y'all, look at this. Look at this idiot. Look at this idiot. Come on. Look right here. Come on. Look right here. Texas chain. Let's see. Make sure you can see it. Make sure you can see this. Let's see here. Nope. Take it down. Here we go. You see it now? There we go. Texas chain Trump Burger mysteriously closes after the owner faces deportation. Wow. Y'all, this was just music to my ears. Now, first of all, this is actually in Houston. So hold on. Let me roll this back so you can hear it from the beginning. Let's see if I do it this way. All right, here you go.
Houston has been arrested by ICE and faces possible deportation. Our sister station in Houston, KPRC, reported that Roland Merez Biouni was arrested on May 16th. ICE said in a statement that Biouni was an illegal immigrant from Lebanon who entered the country back in 2019 and was supposed to leave by February of last year. The agency added that an immigration judge has granted him bond while he undergoes his proceedings. Trump's Burgers website describes the restaurant as a patriotic haven for burger lovers, and it's been open in Houston since April. The owner of a Trump-themed restaurant in Houston has been arrested by ICE and faces possible deportation.
How stupid you have to be unlawful, open a Trump and think you're a Trump burger. And that's not a thing, by the way. He created it. So this is a brand that he created. And you don't even have the good sense to make sure your paperwork is in order. Who is your lawyer? Who is your lawyer? Was it like one of those prison lawyers? You know how like the people on like Love After Lockup like go and like pay somebody with a paralegal certificate from a prison and use them. Oh, it's very fuzzy. Here, let me do it this way. Hold on. I'm just gonna turn. Sorry, I'm gonna just stay smaller to the left. So hopefully you guys can see me okay. Ooh, there we go. But my thought was what kind of idiotic stuff is this? And then here's the other thing. So basically, it appears that this man is what they call a visa overstay. Now, it happens frequently, but only now under the Trump administration are they trying to arrest and lock people up for being visa overstays. Because guess what? There's a plethora of reasons why you could be a valid visa overstay. So for example, if you ever watch 90 Day Fiance, there are people who have come over. Bro, are you still in here? Oh, do you see my little, hold on guys. I'm going to try to fix this internet. Do you see my little, no, my other little phone? I think it's over on the nightstand over there. If you could grab that from me. I'm going to see if I switch internet, if it might be better. But so basically this fool literally, so he was a visa overstay, but what happens a lot of time, for example, if you do the 90 Day Fiance, you apply for the visa, you come over here, you apply, you get married and you submit that paperwork. Well, they tell you all the time in the show, you cannot leave and go back to your country until everything has been finalized. Why? Because at that moment, after you submit your visa application to switch from the fiance visa to whatever the visa is that you now have for being married, technically you have overstayed your fiance visa, right? I'm saying it in simplistic terms. So the gist of it is that's what he did. But he thought, oh, because I own this business, I'm going to be okay. I'm glad they locked him up. And here's the thing. They keep calling these things federal detention centers. Y'all, they are disgusting. They are jails. They are prisons. And they don't separate visa overstay people from literal unalivers who just got out of prison and are being deported because they finished their 20-year, 30-year criminal sentence. All of those people are together in the deportation centers. So it's frightening. But anyway, he effed around and found out, and I don't feel sorry for him. And also, every day that he was locked up and he was away like that, of course, his restaurant was losing money. Now, I refuse to try it. And where he had it that was very dumb. It was not an environment that people would act like where he had it, it was not necessarily in an area that was super in love with Trump. We'll put it like that. And I don't know how them burgers are, but nobody I know has wanted to have any or try any. All right, next up on the docket, ICE and qualified immunity. All right, so speaking of the deportations, this video was posted. It was posted by DL Hughley, as well as the girl whose page is A Girl With No President. I need to play this for you because I really want to make sure, I want to address it because I want to make sure there's not this type of misinformation being spread.
Messages for anybody working for ICE that does not understand what qualified immunity means. When I was a police officer, I didn't have a full grasp of what that meant either. No shame, but you need to understand what it means. After all this dust has settled, what's going to happen is that civil rights attorneys are going to contact the individuals whose Fourth Amendment rights have been clearly violated. Those attorneys are going to argue that you should have known and that the Fourth Amendment of the Constitution was already firmly established, which it is. Just to recap, the Fourth Amendment guarantees citizens the right to be free from unreasonable search and seizure. When that attorney successfully argues that you willfully disregarded the Fourth Amendment and you violated that person's civil rights, you are now absent of qualified immunity. What that means is you are going to be held personally liable. Your personal property forever is going to be subject to paying back the defendant whose home you broke into. You must understand this. ICE is going to hang you out to dry. They're not going to protect you when all of these thousands and thousands of attorneys come and show that it was you that was entering these houses. That means any paycheck you ever earn in the future is going to go to the victims whose Fourth Amendment you violated. Not only will you be held personally financially liable for the damages you incurred, you're also going to be named publicly in these cases, meaning you're never going to get a job anywhere ever again.
All right. Let me just kind of demystify this. I appreciate what he was trying to do, but unfortunately, it's not accurate. I'm actually going to roll it back just a little bit, just so you see who he's talking about. So the truth of it is this. What he's trying to describe is related to qualified immunity, but actually what he's describing, the gist of which is when officers violate your rights and they go far beyond what the law says they're supposed to do and, violate your rights, that when that happens, they're not protected by, the city or the state or the federal governments covering the legal fees when you sue them for excessive force, et cetera. They're saying because they violated and went outside of the rules, they have to personally pay that. It's actually the opposite. That's not the case at all. It's what we want. And it's why limits to qualified immunity are such a big deal, because that's what we're seeking, but it's not actually how it works. Here's how it actually works. So long as and I'm going to use regular people speak, y'all. Okay. So let me know if you're kind of following. But so long as the officer is in the line of duty, is on duty, or appears to be working like within the scope of his duties, right? So if he's an off-duty officer, but has on his uniform, an off-duty officer, but driving a police car when he pulls you over and does whatever, then under that, he can still, he's covered, he's protected, and he can do whatever he wants. What people have been seeking is what he's talking about, which is that, hey, it's very clear you're not supposed to do X, Y, and Z types of things. And that when y'all do those, us taxpaying citizens are not going to pay the money for you guys to have a lawyer. No, because if you had to have your own lawyer, you wouldn't run around beating us up, right? We don't want to have to pay for lawyers to defend you for whooping our butts. If you may remember during George Floyd, let me see if I can find a photo of him. I'm going to find you the photo. I'm going to show you this example. during the George Floyd protest in the yep, here we go. There was a guy. Oh no, go away. I'm trying to. Here we go. It says there was an older gentleman. This gentleman in this photo here, older senior citizen gentleman. I'm going to add it to the screen, who was shoved by one of the officers during the protest, and as a result, I'm putting it up here. As a result, his head was cracked open, etc. You see this older, it was actually an older Caucasian man. What ended up happening is the very next day, New York State, 57 New York State police officers resigned. And it said it resigned in support of the officers that were suspended for shoving him. Here's the real tea. The real tea is they were not resigning in solidarity. They were resigning because their union had informed them, if you continue to cover these protests and you get accused of excessive force, our insurance will no longer cover you. You will have to personally hire an attorney to defend you. You'll have to pay your money. If it's your family and you lose the lawsuit, your house will have to get mortgaged. Your assets can be seized, those things. And so, in other words, they were informed they would not have qualified immunity. And I believe a component of it was because those were not generally the types of protests that were covered under the insurance policy of state troopers. I believe that was generally something that more local officers and stuff had to cover. So the point being, what the guy had just described there, so if you see it on DL Hughley's or some of the other pages, you'll see what people say is, dang, I hope this is true. Unfortunately, it's not. But I think it should be the goal. What do you think? If you got loved ones or know anyone who's been an officer, do you think that where they completely outstepped their rules, like there was an officer, an ICE officer actually, who there was a video, he was driving and he crashed into a woman's vehicle. Then rather than seeing if she's okay and calling the ambulance, he and other ICE officers then ripped that woman from her car, dragged her out, arrested her. I don't have the clip ready for me right now, but arrested her. And the woman, the whole time, they're screaming, she's a citizen, she's a citizen. She was, in fact, a citizen. Yeah, I've always said if I think that officers should be like drivers, like regular people. Each one should have, you can have insurance through your job, just like us lawyers, like through our jobs, we have malpractice, right? But what happens if there keep being claims against you as an attorney, your law firm drops you because the malpractice carrier drops you. You keep missing statute of limitations or, getting in trouble. Same thing should happen with the police where, okay, the county or the city or the state, they can pay for your policy. But when it gets to a point where you keep getting charged with excessive force, you keep getting investigated, blah, 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 your insurance should go up and they should drop you. And when they drop you, hey, do you want to keep policing and you're going to have to pay with your own money? No, which in turn forces them to quit. And you don't have to go through the rigmarole of the collective bargaining policies and procedures that can take literal years to get rid of bad officers. So the good news is in this situation, that was good news there. It's not what's happening with ICE, but if it could happen with ICE, if people would continue to be able to find lawyers, a lot of lawyers will not necessarily take excessive force cases. It's a specialty. But if they're able to find lawyers who then file these claims against these ICE officers and the insurance companies that are covering them start saying, oh, no, you guys have too many claims here. We don't want to renew you. Then we may have some leverage. Hey, Clown99, it says, Symone, what's up, Miss Intellect? I'm present but late. Thank you so much for joining us. All right, so next on the docket. All right, so I just had to make sure I clarified that little piece. Unqualified immunity. Next on the docket, let's put the docket back on up real quick. Boy, I got to go to dinner. Is up, yes. Don't forget, I talked about this a little bit the other day when I was in the jacuzzi. Y'all, what's his face? YouTube plays too much with me. So yesterday I did a video where I'm on vacation. So I just decided to give some of my thoughts on various cases and legal issues. And I did so from the jacuzzi tub right over here. Do you know YouTube flagged it and said, this video is for 18 and up. So my mama literally messaged me and was like, girl, what are you over here doing on the internet? She messaged me at like 12:31 in the morning. And I was like, I'm not naked. I think she thought I might have went ahead and started selling my buttercup, which I have not yet. I'm still tempted, but I'm not selling ussy yet. But I say that to say, if you watched yesterday's clip, don't worry. It only says 18 and up because I was in a bikini. That is why today I am fully dressed. All right. Here we go. Before we do the colleges, real quick, I'm going to play this clip for you. This is why, right here is why we have the government shutdown. This clip really captures what is at stake right now with healthcare.
Older couple out there who's making $85,000 a year. That's not billionaires or anything like that, but that's a higher earner in this case. Here's their current premium. $7,225 per year. That's 8.5% of their income. That's sort of the top end under the current rules. Under the change, if it expires, that will jump to $25,000 per year. That's almost a 30% increase. That's almost 30% of their income, not an income, 30% of their income for the year. That's a tough thing if you're making $85,000 a year.
There we go. See, guys, this is why I'm going to have to sell in some ussy. I'm going to have to start selling. If they go up on my healthcare premiums like this, I'm selling it. So I hope you know someone that would like to purchase some, and or somebody with healthcare through their job where I could just be their little domestic partner and we could go that route. So the gist of it is that by taking away the subsidies, people who needed subsidies for it to be affordable, which generally are actually healthier, younger people, those people aren't going to get insurance. And then it's going to make the premiums go up for the rest because those are going to be the super sickly people. But also, these are just tax subsidies. So how is it you can give tax subsidies to all these corporations and your rich homeboys, but subsidies to help people pay for healthcare is, whoa, you've drawn the line. Give me a freaking break. Give me a break. All right, taking this down. Next up, colleges. No, that's not it. Sorry. Colleges are. So people have been asking me about this. I spoke yesterday about in the state of Texas, they are until October 19th, basically. So the end of this week, students can apply to any Texas college they want to for free this week. So basically your application fee is waived. Obviously, you guys watch me from everywhere. So I wanted to share this. It's my fave. All right. So this is a quick breakdown. You can use ChatGPT. You can go and you can look at some of my past reels. But this is just a quick breakdown of various colleges throughout the United States, y'all, that offer free tuition or to families, basically middle class, higher middle class families. So families under 200,000. Here's what I need you to know, because October 15th is the extension deadline, right? If you're going to file your taxes. If you have a college-age kid that's going to be going off to school next school year, you need to think about this as you do your taxes. You want to make sure, baby, if you got to get up there and start selling some Mary Kay, maybe you have to start selling some ussy. If you're going to sell some ussy, make sure you pay your taxes on that. We don't want any wire fraud or IRS fraud accusations while you're out there selling. But because how it works is when colleges say that they have these, what it is scholarships and grants, not loans. These schools basically have these different funds, especially the top private schools, where they make so much literally off their endowments through interest, etc. They can afford to allow it to be free, piece together grants that students whose families make under 200K don't have to pay back. It's adjusted gross monthly income. So that's why you want to make sure when you do your taxes, and if you're married, your spouse, when y'all come together, do what you can to try to be up underneath the 200K. Here's some example schools. Harvard, under 200K. That just extended as of this year. Before that, I think it was like 150 or so. MIT, same thing. Most families under 200K pay no tuition. Those under 100K typically have zero parental contribution. So what that can mean when it says no tuition for 200K, what it might mean is, but your parents may be expected to contribute like to your dorm, to your housing money, to the room and board component. It varies. Another one is Stanford. That one is, If your parents make under 100K, you get everything for free. If it's between 100 and 150, there may be components of like room and board. There you go, that you may have to cover components of. Tufts University, 150. Wake Forest, parents under 200K. Duke is 150K. University of Virginia, 100K. That's for in-state. UCLA, California families that are under 100K. Brandeis, 75K. Carnegie Mellon, only 75. Carnegie is expensive. Carnegie Mellon, they need to do better than that. Columbia University is also 150K. Cornell, that's actually incorrect. Cornell is much higher. It says families under 60K get full aid with no loans up to, it's been increased. It's like up to families up to 100K, no loans. And then between 100 and 150 or 200, depending on the amount, you may have to pay, I think it's actually up to $3,000 is what the parents would have to contribute for different things like room and board. And UT Austin, beginning this fall, actually, for those that made under $100,000, same thing. Now, let me tell you this real quick. If you are not you're not with the dad, right? Two different households. You need to be very careful with this, because if it's two households, the FAFSA text technically requires you to put down the information for the daddy's household too. So if the dad is remarried, they calculate both incomes. But one thing that you can do is, for example, if the dad is not regularly contributing or paying child support, there's actually a form that you can fill out with the FAFSA. It's a box that you check that says, I'm only submitting mama's income because dad is not participatory. So yes. What about kids already in college now? So actually for kids already in college now, if they're at one of these schools though, it is my understanding that financial aid, those rules apply to students that are already there as well. So you're going to need to call for your kid, because, student college students, they don't be paying attention to none of that. They just barely go to class and stay afloat and be eating oodles and noodles. All right, next up on the docket, y'all's friend Candace Owens. That is not my friend. This pissed me off. We got two more. Okay, here we go. We're going to switch it up to this one. Pissed me off so doggone bad. Here. All right. Candace is dumb butt. Here's the thing. Y'all ever notice how when the Republicans want to tap a Black person to, quote, lead within their organization, they generally find just the least educated of us all, or the dingiest of us all, or the strangest of us all. Anyway, Candace Owens is actually one of the few that actually finished college. Did you know that Charlie Kirk only went to one semester of a community college and quit? Yeah, he quit. All right, we're going to keep going. This is what it says. It says, they're calling it Blexit. Turning Point USA's, quote, Blexit, I guess that's supposed to be Black Exit movement, is heading to HBCUs for homecoming. And they're partnering. I don't know. It says Blexit, an organization founded by Candace Owens and former Tucson, Arizona police officer Brandon Tatum, is currently, quote, powered by Turning Point USA, is taking a tour called Educate to Liberate to several prominent HBCU campuses throughout the month of October. According to their website, the mission of the tour is, quote, bring conservative values to life, fostering critical thinking, and sparking powerful conversations on HBCU campuses. These are some of the campuses. So they've got Howard University coming up, Hampton that same weekend, Bowie State, Lincoln, Alabama State, Jackson State, Tennessee State, and Florida A&M. Florida A&M is not about to play with these people. However, the Republicans of Florida actually removed the prior president of FAMU that people were happier with, and they put in, or that, correction, that person's term may have expired, but a plethora of the alumni did not want a lady named Marva, who they've now put in. So she's super Republican, and that's how they're able to do this foolishness. Do y'all know any of these people that are going to be speaking there? I don't know, so I'm not going to say anything derogatory, but Craig Long, Savannah Craven, Stephen Davis, Topher, Anthony Watson. Part of my question is, are these people who all support Candace Owens and her messaging, and Charlie Kirk and his messaging, Or is there going to be an educated debate? Like, do some of these people disagree? I don't know. Oh, boy on the left with the American flag on his hat. I have a feeling he probably keeps his hand up Candace Owens' butt. But it says, Feminista Jones issued a clear quote message. Ignore them, extinguish their fire, talking to students as these people come to campus. Extinguish their fire with the cool breezes of silence. So here's the truth. When you're accepting federal funding like that, you don't have a choice. These colleges didn't have a choice. Of course, Trump and his administration would threaten them if they don't let these people on the campus. But that doesn't mean they have to listen to, engage with, or otherwise make these people feel welcomed. I really encourage, listen, if there is a fund, I would love to go fund me and put at the bottom of this chat any fund or link to encourage any fundraising for people that want to protest against this. Do not engage. What you're absolutely not supposed to do is don't get to fighting with these people. Don't get to arguing with these people. Do not let these people raise your blood pressure or get you arrested, okay? Because number one, they will get the benefit of the doubt. But number two, they want the clicks. They want the videos. So really what they need is silence. Don't go. Or if you're going to go and turn your back to them and nobody look at them and leave. The best part would be, and someone did this with a Trump rally back in the day. I think the first time he was running, someone went on and like bought every single free ticket and then like used some algorithms type thing, bought all the free tickets. And then it was super, super empty. Yeah. Give them no press, give them nothing. So if you have any children at these campuses, please encourage them to go do something else, find you something else to do. But what I anticipate, these people are probably going to have giveaways, free pizza. You know, the things I did in college for some free pizza, it's kind of shameful. I can't tell you how many credit cards I done opened up in undergrad for some goddamn free pizza. I have a feeling they're going to offer these students a bunch of free crap they don't need. And be like, yeah, come over here for that. Phone chargers or coupons and crap. I'm so sick of this. All right. And last but not least, we're going to talk about Mr. Tyler Perry, y'all. Well, there is an update in the Tyler Perry lawsuit. And I'm going to take this banner down. This will be our last story for the evening. So petty. Hit that like. We've got over 300 in the chat. Thank you guys so much for rocking with me. Yeah, those auditoriums should be easy, should be empty. Talking about the HBCU Black Conservative Tour. All right, here we go. So Tyler Perry is saying that his accuser, quote, needs help and admits to having, quote, a platonic friendship with him. Now, Tyler Perry's legal team has also filed a motion to dismiss. I'm going to briefly explain all that. Don't worry, I'm not going to go over the lawsuit from step one. So this is an exclusive that came out today from Us Weekly. So Tyler Perry told the court that actor Derek Dixon's lawsuit that's accusing him of SA is profoundly disappointing, cynical, and most of all, false. He says his legal team filed court documents on the 1st of the month calling out the claims in his case, where he is seeking $260 million in damages against Perry and his production company over misconduct by the director. Okay, in the filing, Perry said that Dixon's lawsuit, quote, draws on Hollywood stereotypes and the bad actions of others. Dixon, who's only 35, it says, distorts and tries to turn sinister Mr. Perry's acts of platonic friendship and professional mentorship. Listen, I'm going to tell you, overall, the gist of the claim is that Derek, who is the white guy, Derek was working as a busboy, as a waiter at some event that Tyler Perry had hosted. At the time, I don't know that Tyler even knew he was an actor or any of that, but he was bussing tables there. And Tyler was like, you should get into acting or something along those lines. They exchanged information. They kept in touch. Some months later, oh boy, and prior to this, Derek Dixon had wanted to be an actor, allegedly, and he would do like stage plays or whatever. He would do his best to get into acting. And so then after this, Tyler Perry, about 3 or 4 months later, got him like a one-off role, like as an extra or something minor in something that Tyler was working on. And then note this, 2 months after their platonic friendship began, Tyler Perry bought him a car When I read the lawsuit, that was the first thing that I said, this is suspicious. If you're saying someone's already hit on you and then they offer to buy you a car and you take the car, you're probably going to need to be expected to give up some bussy. All right. We got to have a bussy-o-meter. Okay. If you had a bussy, all right, and a man who has been making advances at you, who says he's just your friend, of course, he is a multi-millionaire. If he offers to buy you a car, do you have any concern that at some point after this car, you might have to give up some bussy? I don't know. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying the car may indicate to me he wants more than platonic friendship. Someone said, does Tyler Perry even do mentorship? I doubt he has time for that. Yeah, right. It says, we need to know if this is a Honda or a Range Rover. That's a real good question. Now, some have said, oh, he's very rich. He's very generous. There was the one actress that was at cons or something with him that was an actress on one of her shows, and her luggage didn't arrive. And there is the story of him giving her his credit card, his black card, and telling her to get whatever she needed. The difference there, though, is one, she had worked for him. He had known her for years, etc. But back to the art. Let's just stick with the facts, okay? Now it's saying Dixon, according to Tyler Perry, he says Dixon invents alleged assaults and encounters that simply never happened. Mr. Perry never assaulted him or committed any battery. He did not offer Dixon pay raises and shoot Dixon's television script in order to threaten, to coerce, or control him. Dixon earned through merit alone whatever professional opportunities that he received from Mr. Perry and Mr. Perry's company, the lawyer noted. And it's notable that in his effort to exploit the friendship, talking about Dixon, and the professional relationship with Mr. Perry to get a $260 million payday, Dixon was forced to lie not only about Mr. Perry, but about himself too. Says Perry's team alleged that Dixon did not, quote, file the lawsuit because of anything that Perry did, but because of what Mr. Perry did not do. And that Perry's team believes Dixon decided to accuse him of this misconduct because Perry could not sell Dixon's television pilot to Netflix. Perry said that this case is cliche, blah, 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 and that by his actions and false accusations, it's clear Dixon needs help. Let me tell you this too. Just to clarify, he never alleges that it was the R word. He alleges that it was inappropriate touching at a time when he spent the night at Perry's house. He claims that Perry basically gave him too much to drink and then said, oh, you can stay at my house overnight. And in doing so, Tyler went into his room, tried to get into his bed, etc. Let me tell you this overall with the lawsuit and the major issue that's honestly with the lawsuit. And you can go on my page. I'll try to link it. I'll drop the link below, the deep dive into the lawsuit, which is this. Somebody said it looked like Michael Jackson. Oh, Lord. Who looked like Michael Jackson? Oh, no. Yes, his last name is Dixon. Dixon. The main issue with this lawsuit, honestly, is he waited too long to file it. Derek Dixon waited way too long. And he filed it in the wrong state. So this lawsuit, which the gist of it is sexual harassment, basically he was taking a page from Cassie's book where you sue for sexual harassment. It can trigger employment law insurance. You can have some rights and opportunities there, right? Easier to get paid if you can show that you were an employee and that was violated via sexual harassment, etc. Here's the problem. Well, number one, he filed it in the wrong state. He filed it in California, and he filed it under a California law that basically opens up the statute of limitations for claims that have already passed. The essay that he alleges happened in 2019 and 2020. The statute of limitations for that is 2 years in Georgia, which is where everything transpired. Tyler Perry's company is a Georgia-based company. When he was an actor, Dixon was an actor on, gosh, you guys can remind me of the show, but The Oval. He was an actor on that show and an additional one, I believe, as well. And when he was on all the shows, they were taped in Georgia. The problem with Georgia law is, number one, the statute of limitations has already passed. So he missed his opportunity to sue in Georgia. And number two, Georgia law does not allow independent contractors to bring sexual harassment lawsuits. California does, Georgia does not. In Georgia, you have to be an employee. Now, he would have been considered an employee for when he was acting on the shows under Tyler Perry. Under Georgia law, you'd be considered an employee for that. But then and again, the statute of limitations for those are gone. But this other stuff, he's claiming that part of the sexual harassment was not selling his pilot and pretending he was going to sell the pilot in order to string out the statute of limitations. That stuff, all that was independent contractor. You selling a pilot to Tyler Perry that you then want Tyler to sell to Netflix, you're 100% an independent contractor. You're not at all an employee. So unfortunately, what it looks like, my guess is that if the court agrees, the California court where it's currently at, if they agree Georgia is the proper state to handle and review it, then they're going to kick it over to Georgia, which means the statute of limitations done, and that basically on a procedural or technicality, the case will have to be dismissed. It will mean it will be dismissed without any evaluation of what we call the merits of the case. So in other words, not even getting an opportunity to evaluate whether or not his claims were true, simply because old boy waited too long to file. That also means he's not going to be able to, get Tyler Perry to have to sit down and do a deposition or any of that if it gets tossed out for being in the wrong state, which is more than likely what happened, because that deposition is what we need. He did file. Yes, it says, didn't he file with EEOC? He did. And guess what else happened? EEOC didn't take the charge, baby. EEOC did not take the charge. So what happens is EEOC is your first step. But you're right. He's not, yes, hey there says it. He's not covered under EEOC where he is an independent contractor, number one. And number two, at the point that he filed under EEOC, he was an independent contractor. He was just, writing script. He was no longer a cast member. But also EEOC has really tight timelines where you have to file under, in so many days of leaving a company or separating from your role. I think it's generally 180 days. It varies. But as a result of that, he filed, and I believe he filed with EEOC. I think that his attorney had him do that just in case, because you have to show that you did all the administrative steps before you can bring a civil employment law case, especially if you're claiming things like harassment. However, I believe he was also doing it because it makes the case look more believable. No problem with that at all. But in the end, EEOC did not take it on for a reason, and EEOC gave him what's called the right to sue letter, meaning they're not going to handle this for you, but you are welcome to, if you can find yourself an independent lawyer that's going to take your case, go for it and do that, y'all. All right, let me see if I have any final questions before we wrap up. It says also TPS doesn't acknowledge rights that the Writing and Actors Guild fight for. Interesting. Like, will he be blacklisted? Oh, for sure. 100%. That might be one of the biggest things that he should probably try and fight for. However this case works itself out. I mean, look at the Diddy case and all the different workers that talked about time and time that once they sued Diddy, even for unpaid overtime or whatever it was, that Diddy then blackballed them. I think that it is a natural thing as well, because if you're another director that does any kind of business with Tyler Perry, you don't want to look like you picked sides. So it's going to be tough for him. I think that's also why he's asking for $260 million, such a large number, to justify what he said is the fact that he can't work again as an actor. Now, interestingly, though, he was earning like about $400,000. So I'm not really sure how he gets from $400K like in his best year to $260. But hey, nobody asked me. Nobody asked me. Tyler better have these men sign NDAs. Was he the one that wouldn't sign one? Yeah. If I remember the facts correctly, Tyler kept asking him to sign one and he wouldn't. No, correction. Nope, sorry. I'm getting it confused with Sharon Sharp. I'm tired. Yeah, I need a mojito. Okay, on that note, drop your questions below. Let me know what other stories you want me to cover this week. I'm your legal bestie, attorney Symone. Thanks for tuning in. Hit that like and subscribe on your way out.